All right, so someone asked me to make a follow-up video going over my controls and all my settings for Tabletop Simulator. So let's do that real quick. So first, let's start with cameras. You can have 10 cameras set on the numbers 1 through 0, just right above QWERTY on your keyboard. If you played StarCraft or Warcraft, a game like that, the cameras in this work just the way control groups did there. So hold Shift and press 1, 2, or 3 to load cameras 1, 2, or 3. Hold Control and press 1, 2, or 3 to set cameras 1, 2, or 3. So Control to set it, and then Shift to load it. So I have my cameras over, I think of them as players 1, 2, and 3. But Tabletop Simulators has these as players 2, 3, and 4. And I don't know why I do it this way. It was just the way I initially did it. And I'm never going back to like using player 1. So I just play players 2, 3, and 4. So for me, they are 1, 2, and 3 are the hotkeys that I use. Then I have 4 as my active area here. I have 5 set to the board, and so whenever I'm in a room, I will just immediately set 5 and 0 as the cameras for that room, because whenever you switch players, so right now I'm on player blue, if I switch to white, it will automatically load camera 0. So anytime you switch to any character, it always loads camera 0. So I just hold Control and hit 5 and 0 at the same time to set my camera there. And then when I go to a new room, same thing. For me, I have 6 as my campaign sheet, 7 as buildings, 8 for events, 9 for loading new scenarios, and then 0 is obviously over 0 and 5 are basically always the same. It's just easier to hold Shift and get to 5 than it is 0. Although, I mean, from my good old 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A spamming days, I was a decent StarCraft player. Especially StarCraft 2 when that first came out. I was like top 200 in the US for a while. Anyway, it's a very long time ago. So I think that is it for cameras. So let's talk about switching characters. So if you saw my other video, I recommended installing this hand hotkeys application, or I don't remember what they're called on Tabletop Simulator. These are the only 2 that I have installed. I've literally only ever played Frosthaven on Tabletop Simulator, so I don't know very much about it. But I highly recommend these hand hotkeys things. You can get it with an additive load. If you do not, and you're trying to play multiple characters by yourself, you have to come up here to change color to switch the player you're controlling. And it just becomes a mess, and maybe I'll try to find old footage I had of it, of like it just completely messing up all of the scripting, and then cards just don't work the way they're supposed to, and they just hover in midair. And you have to just save and then quit out of Tabletop Simulator completely to fix it. So this additive load with hand hotkeys will fix that. So I think of my characters as, let's set camera 0 here. Player 1 is red, player 2 is white, and player 3 is blue. But if we can see that here, player 1, or red, it has as number 3, white as number 1, and blue as number 8. So if we come to our configuration, and you scroll down to the bottom of controls for scripting right here, these are just extra things that can be done in Tabletop Simulator, and so that's what this hand hotkey is doing. It has the action of scripting 1 set to switch to player white. So for me, player white is what I think of as player 2, and so I have the hotkey for that set to 2 on my keypad. And then red is player 1, so I have it set to 1 on my keypad. And then blue is 8, so at scripting 8, I have keypad 3. So players 1, 2, and 3 for me are red, white, blue. So that is how you set your hand hotkeys. So I very rarely use keypad 6, but if I am playing a 4-player scenario and I need green, then for me it's just 6. Let's go into... So I have those set to the keypad. If we go to options, game keys, yeah. These are like the assisted Frosthaven hotkey controls. So these are the same buttons as your cameras, just your numbers right above the QWERTY keyboard. So 1 is play your initiative card, 2 is play your second card, 3 is play a third card. There are a couple classes that can play 3 cards in special circumstances, like the Blink Blade has Sand in the Hourglass here, which allows you to play a third card. So you just hover over the card, you can hold Alt to make it bigger if you want, then mouse wheel up or down to make it bigger or smaller. 1 to set it as your initiative, 2 to set it as your second card, and 3 to set it as your third card. And then with this card right here at 17, you can see that if we start a round, our initiative will be set to 17, and it translates over to X-Haven for us. Then if we want to just draw a single card, you can hover over it and press 4, and it will put it in your hand on whichever character you are selected as. So right now I'm playing as White, as player 2, or player 3, depending on how you look at it. If you want to draw more than one card, you can hover over a pile. You can see there are 16 cards here. If I press 5, it will draw 5 cards. If you are not hovering over a pile and you press 5, it will order the initiatives of your cards. So we can mess these up for a second, and then when we press 5, it will put them back in initiative order for us to make it easier to look at. The only class that kind of hurts with is Geminate, because it mixes your ranged and melee form cards, which is a little annoying, but it is kind of livable. It's easier once you know the cards better. Let's see. So let's just go over regular hotkeys. So one thing that can be pretty important are Q and E, and these will just rotate things. And the amount they rotate is based off of this rotation degrees thing you have right here. So if you have it set too high, 60, I think is... Well, the thing is that this one... Okay, so we have it set to 90 degrees right now. And so when we accidentally pick up this tile, now when we try to rotate it, we can only rotate it 90 degrees. And so we can't get it to fit perfectly on the thing. So I just have mine set at 15 degrees so that you can always rotate any piece however you need to make it fit. You can also pick it up with the mouse and then just hold the, use the mouse wheel to rotate any piece around. So that's what Q and E do. WASD, just do the camera. R will shuffle for you. So, you know, say we need a short rest. We've got these 4 cards. I thought I did more than 4, but oh well. We can just press R to shuffle it. And then we would lose the top card or, you know, lose a health. Oh, go away. I rewound time 0 seconds, I think. Okay, I have never messed with that before. There we go, I got it to go away. So yeah, R will shuffle cards to give you a completely random order. F will flip them over. And then if you've got multiple things in different places, you can select all of them and press G to group them up into a singular place. I think that's basically all the keys. I don't think I use anything else for anything. You can press L to lock something. So say you don't want your player mat to move, press L on it, and now you can no longer pick it up. This can be useful. There are a couple scenarios where like the edge of the board will be like glitching out and it's just like stacked weirdly and incorrectly, and like you can see right now I can't select this board to drag in and move it, but you just hover over it and press L to unlock it, and then you can move it wherever you want. And then just L again to lock it in place and it can't be messed with. So that can be very nice to do like with your player mats if you don't want to pull them off. And I think that that is all of the keys there. So one other thing that can be useful, there's one scenario I can think of where you need a random number between 1 and 12. Whoops. So what I did is I just went to objects here and grabbed a deck of cards. just a random standard deck of cards. And I just went through and I only have 12 spades. You're supposed to shuffle random tokens 1 through 12 into random places, but in one scenario it doesn't do that for you, and so just 12 cards will work for you just as well, and just flip them over, shuffle them, and now you've got random numbers 1 through 12. That one took me a very long time to think of. I used to use a random number generator when I played that level. So that's just a faster, easier way to do that. If you want your tabletop simulator to run slightly smoother, it doesn't do much, but you can come to your task manager, right click on it, and set its priority to high rather than just normal, and then it will it just performs ever so slightly better. Is there anything else? I don't think there really is. I'm sure I'm missing something. Okay, so there are some scenarios. We're going to look at scenario 7. But we're just doing it for one reason in particular real quick. In this final room, we have like a boss monster guy. And this boss monster guy, you can see that he doesn't have a health bar. And he doesn't show up on our X-Haven. And I think this is more an X-Haven issue than it is a tabletop simulator. So what you do, I mean, we can mouse over him and see that his name is Coral Corpse. So we can come here to add monsters, show special scenario monsters, and check that. And then just type in Coral Corpse, and he'll show up. Now we just click the plus button, and all of a sudden, just like that, he has a health bar. And we can see his shield and retaliate now. So there are a bunch of scenarios where there are things like this, where you just need to go in and manually add the monster. One other thing you could do, I haven't messed around with it too much because I kind of just like, I developed a system for myself for playing this without it. But there is a picture-in-picture option here. So just right-click and go to picture-in-picture. It'll pull it up for you. So you put your camera wherever you want. So right now we're looking at the board. And then we can just lock it right here. And so you could put that like over in the corner or something. And then, you know, while you're looking at your player mat, you can still see the board in the top right-hand corner. Then, you know, when you move into the next room, you can just unlock the camera and then lock it back. And that way you could either always have the board in the top of your screen while you're going into other stuff, or you could always have your board in the top of the screen in the picture-in-picture while you are looking, so you'd be able to see your character mat. I think it probably makes more sense to have the picture-in-picture up here, though. Not something I've messed with, but definitely not a bad idea. All right, couple other things that I missed. If you have a monster and, you know, say something summons a monster, but it summons an elite, you can just drag the new monster from over off on the side there, and then to change it to elite, you just click on its base right here, and it will become elite. Now, say we're in a turn here, and we are going to apply disarm to a monster. If we are going to disarm this wolf, and Blinkblade is the one doing the disarm, we just want to make sure that it is Blinkblade's turn. So you can select whose turn it is by clicking to the left, and you can see that they become grayed out when it's not their turn, and the person or group of things whose turn it is kind of become outlined in white in Tabletop Simulator. So if it's Blinkblade's turn and we disarm a hound, then you can see once we click on Deathwalker for Deathwalker's turn, that disarm is going to go away. So it works just like that for looting. Works very similarly. So if there is a gold pile on the ground and it is Blinkblade's turn, Blinkblade stands on the gold pile, and then we go to the next person's turn by just clicking on the hound here. It will automatically loot that gold for us. Alternatively, if you don't want to automatically loot it, you could just, you make sure you set it to the player whose turn it is. So you would set Deathwalker. You can see the Deathwalker symbol appears on the card here. And then when you draw it, you'll have the little Deathwalker face. When you end the round, or when you end the scenario, it will add Deathwalker received 2 metal. So it'll do the loot automatically for you. You just have to make sure you have the right character turn selected. And so this will also work with all of the conditions like strengthen or disarm. Just make sure you have the right character selected when you are applying the condition, and it should take care of all of that for you. If you need the campaign stickers, you can just press F9 and it will pull them up. And then it's just got page 1 and page 2. And then to get out of this, you would think you just click on the X, but then you're still actually in the sticker thing. Just press F1 to go back to your normal mouse. And I think that's it. I don't know. While I'm editing, maybe I will think of something else that I missed. But for the most part, I think that should be about everything that you need to know to be able to play Tabletop Simulator relatively smoothly. But it takes a very long time to get used to all of the controls and to be able to control everything quickly. Good luck.